Hey everyone, it's a Telsonator here, following up on another request. I had a request to go even farther back and to do how to tune the bass. I assume that if you're looking up videos, you already know how to do it, and I'm sure there are hundreds of videos on here. But I've been asked, so asking ye shall receive. First thing we want to do is know our string names. We've got our thickest string is E, then our A, our D, and our G. If you've already played, you can hear that one of those is definitely out of tune already. I haven't picked this bass up in a while, so that's good. I've got one a little bit out. First way to tune is relative tuning. We want to tune to something else, relative to another instrument that we would assume is in tune. This is where having an electric keyboard is really good. I've got one here. I'm not very good with it, but I use it basically just for this, and I use it for the drum beats and things like that. And you know, I try it. I'm on Mary Had a Little Lamb and things like that, so it's a slow battle trying to do this. So, first thing we're going to do is tune each string, E, A, D, G. We're going to start with the E. I recommend getting the sustain pedal out if you've got one, because that way, otherwise you're just going to get those short notes. So I just hit the sustain pedal, rock an E, hit my string with it, and they sound relatively in tune. I mean, unless you have perfect pitch, you're never going to get it dead on. That sounds good to me though. Then we've got our A string. So again, hit the sustain pedal. Not bad. My ears are probably not good enough to detect whether that's out or not. This one I'm pretty sure is out though. D is our next one there. Oof. You can hear that. Make sure to refresh the note. And don't just assume that the note is still in your head. Unless you've got perfect pitch. In which case you don't need to watch this video. G is our next one there. G sounds good to me. So that's how we can get in tune with the piano. Now I'll pull another one out of tune. I'll pull that same D string out of tune again. The other way of doing it, if we've already got one of our strings in tune, or we have no other instrument to tune to, we can tune relative to one of the strings on your guitar. So be it as it may, this string may be out just a little bit, but if you're tuned all of your other strings to it, they're all equally out of tune, so it'll still sound good if you're playing along or singing. But if you're playing with another instrument, obviously it's not going to sound good. You want to make sure you're tuned to each other. So this way of doing it is it's a little bit easier, I think, than the piano. You can hear it a little bit better, and it's really good to crank the bass on your amp for this. And I'll explain why when I get to it. So what we want to keep in mind is our 5th fret on the string that we call in tune. So our E string we're going to say is in tune. The 5th fret is the same as the next string open. So you're always pressing on the string that you just tuned, and you're hitting the string that you want to tune afterward. So I'm going to hit the 5th fret, then I'll hit the open string, and they should sound the same. They should be the exact same note. They should both be A. And here there's no real bad, they're not clashing at all. So our next one, we're going to go to the 5th fret on the next string, and we're going to hit our A string on the 5th fret, and our D string open. Actually, I'm going to get that a little bit more out. You can kind of hear it wobbling. It's almost got that wobble. The more intense that wobble or those waves are, the more out of tune you are. As the waves get farther apart and go whoa, whoa, they go slower and slower, that's how you know you're getting closer to being in tune. So you can hear they're really wobbling here. I tighten it up a bit more, and you can hear the waves have slowed down a bit. The best way to do it would be hear the notes ring, then reach over. You can actually hear the note go from being wow, 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 wow. Once it flatlines like that, like an EKG, it flatlines, you know you're good, unlike the EKG. So, next then we've got our G string. Hopefully these two are in tune now. Oh, you can hear it's a little bit out. So I didn't necessarily tune that right with the piano. So now I know, and every bass is different too, so now I know that the bass is going to sound in tune. So that's how I can get it in tune relatively. Now, if you don't have the ears like me, I don't have great ears for this kind of stuff, and I don't really have the patience to sit and try and nitpick two notes whether they're in tune or not. There's another way of doing it, and I would really recommend getting one of these tuners, an electric tuner. This is made by Korg. It's called a chromatic tuner. You can tune any note with it on any instrument. You can tune a violin, a trumpet, it doesn't matter. Whereas there are also electric instrument tuners that you would call a guitar and bass tuner. They usually say guitar/bass, and you can switch it from one to the other. And that way it'll only narrow it down to just the 4 strings on your bass, or 5 or 6, whichever you've got. And all you do with that, here I'll try and give you a little demo, is if we get it to turn on, probably won't see it too well here, but there's lights that are going across as I'm speaking. It's picking up the frequency. Basically, you just want to make sure that the letter name of the string appears in the corner, and that the light stays green when you're doing it. So this little light there, I'm not sure how well you can all see this, but there's a flat light and there's a sharp light. Obviously, when you see the flat light, you want to tighten it. And if the sharp light comes on, you want to loosen it to get it back into tune. That's the easiest way to do it, but you got to make sure that the note you're trying to tune appears in the corner of the tuner here. And of course, I'm looking at kind of a reflection here, so it's backwards. So you just do that for each of your strings, and you can also see if your intonation is out that way. If you hit a note up on a higher fret, you can see that E is a little bit sharp for an E, so I know I might need my bass set up. So the last way I'll do it here, and this is kind of a cool way, if you know how to do a harmonic, a natural harmonic, all you're going to do is take your finger right over top of the fret, let's say the 5th fret for this one, right over top of the 5th fret, and you're not going to actually press down on the note, or you get a really bad sound. You're just going to gently touch your finger to the string, just until you feel contact with the steel, and you'll get the nice high overtone. You want to do one on the 7th fret, and on the string below, hit the 5th fret, and you can hear the 2 notes together. And they're much higher, and it's easier to differentiate between the 2 notes and to hear those waves. It's just to help you get a little bit more accurate. I hope this helps with your tuning your bass. Good luck.